Hello friends, welcome to TikTok compilations. If you like this content, please like, share and subscribe. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Breaking news tonight, the FBI says the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories are legit. That's the first time we've ever heard that from the government. Think about it. JFK, UFOs, it goes on and on and on. But tonight, Kash Patel says he is actually investigating the many conspiracy theories surrounding the murder of Charlie Kirk. This as the suspect's male lover is eyed. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Less than 2 weeks ago, our country was robbed of one of the brightest lights of our times.
My husband, Charlie, he wanted to save young men, just like the one who took his life.
Kirk's wife, Erica, wowing the crowd and sending a message like no other. This as Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, is literally chasing down conspiracy theories. Listen.
FBI Director Patel now investigating conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk's murder. Patel was able to dismiss a theory a pilot was involved because they turned off their transponder moments after the shooting, but says others could be credible. They include theories about accomplices, authenticity of the text conversation between Robinson and his roommate, the bullet's trajectory, and even why Kirk, who normally wears black, was clad in white that day.
You know, I've never heard the government even acknowledge conspiracy theories, much less state that they will be investigated. With me, an all-star panel to make sense of what we are learning tonight in the Charlie Kirk shooting. Straight out to Victoria Churchill joining us from Washington, U.S. political reporter, DailyMail.com. Victoria, what is Patel saying?
I think Director Patel is saying that he wants to explore everything and anything connected to this, but this should come as no surprise because Patel considered Kirk a close friend, a ally in the MAGA movement and the greater conservative movement. But I also do want to point out that Director Patel and the FBI as a whole maybe have not necessarily been at the forefront of this investigation, despite what they have said. Because, of course, Robinson was turned in by his own father.
Hold on, little lady. Whoa. They had the suspect in custody within 33 hours. Take a look at your crime stats. That rarely happens. So, a lot was made, Victoria Churchill, of the arrest of two individuals, one claiming, I did it. Of course they arrested him. He was cleared. Then another. So explain to me your reasoning.
So the first individual is somebody who I have heard from people that have actually been active in Utah politics, conservative politics in particular in Utah, that this is somebody that is a known agitator. And so I think there was no surprise that he was there. But he also went in for questioning. But again, this is somebody that didn't like conservative.
Charlie Kirk, a patriot, a conservative, a leader, a builder, an advocate, an author, a lover of freedom, a husband, a father, a Christian, and a warrior. You see, Charlie Kirk was a true believer for the cause of freedom, for the power of young people belief in our republic and our founding principles, in America first and make America great again. But more importantly, he was a true believer. Only Christ is King, our Lord and Savior. Our sins are washed away by the blood of Jesus. Fear God and fear no man. That was Charlie Kirk. You see, Charlie Kirk started Turning Point USA to change our politics. That's when I first met him over a decade ago. He was building a movement, and nobody worked harder at it, bringing people to political small t truth. I still have the sticker, big government sucks. And he pursued that truth with more vigor than anyone I've ever met. But over time, he realized, like so many of us have, that this is not a political war. It's not even a cultural war. It's a spiritual war. Faith and family first. There is a God, and as Charlie would say, it is not us. We're sinners saved only by grace in need of the gospel. You see, we always did need less government. But what Charlie understood and infused into his movement is we also needed a lot more God. Charlie had big plans, but God had even bigger plans. You know, Marco mentioned this arena and the millions watching. A couple days ago, I learned that Kirk, actually in the German language, means church. So on this Sunday morning, I'd like to think we're all in Charlie's church. Charlie started a political movement, but unleashed a spiritual revival. My pastor texted me the day after that horrific event and said, "Pete, the devil overplayed his hand." Charlie started with liberty, but ended up lighting our country on fire for Christ. He started Turning Point USA, but this moment is the turning point for the USA. Right now. He died the way he lived, speaking the truth. Charlie waged war not with a weapon, but with a tent, a microphone, his mind, and the truth. And the gates of hell could not prevail against him. He went into the darkest of places, like Paul in the book of Acts. He went into college campuses where they said we couldn't go, and he was the light. He was bold, he was brave, he was a hero. You know, at the War Department, we know a little bit about heroism. I've seen it personally on the battlefield from Americans wearing camouflage, and I'm surrounded by men and women today who have the chance to witness the same. Most people don't know this, but Charlie Kirk wanted to go to West Point. It never happened, obviously. His personal loss at that moment was our nation's great gain. Charlie Kirk was a citizen who had the biblical heart of a soldier of the faith, who put on every single day the full armor of God with a smile, as the scriptures tell all Christ followers to do. Charlie Kirk, a warrior for country, a warrior for Christ. He ran the race. He finished the fight. Now it's our turn. My charge to all of you: live worthy of Charlie Kirk's sacrifice and put Christ at the center of your life as he advocated for giving his. Charlie has heard the words echoing now in heaven. Well done, good and faithful servant. Charlie will take it from here. God bless.
I shot him, now shoot me. This is what 71-year-old George Zinn yelled moments after the assassination of political activist Charlie Kirk, according to court documents. However, authorities say that Mr. Zinn tried to help the suspected gunman escape by faking a confession. In fact, prime suspect Tyler Robinson later texted his roommate that he had avoided arrest because police had grabbed some crazy old dude. Utah County Sheriff Michael Smith said that Mr. Zinn admitted to police that he had intentionally yelled that he had shot Kirk. Mr. Zinn is now being held on obstruction of justice charges. Separately, he has also been charged with possession of child sex abuse material. The sheriff said that there was currently no evidence that Mr. Zinn colluded with the gunman. The sheriff also added that Mr. Zinn is being held for the sexual exploitation of a minor and that agents found more than 20 images of children in various states of undress and sexual posing.
I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird shit going on with this.
I know.
First of all, there was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombings.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place, and then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets shot, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that. I don't know exactly what he did. Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child porn right away.
Right after this happened?
Oh, right away. He's in jail for child porn. Why is that? Well, now you can't interview him.
Right, right.
Right, and because when the internet people start going, how are you at all these different things? Like, what are the odds? Like, if someone ran it through one of the ChatGPT fucking perplexity things, like, what are the odds that this guy would be at all those different events and be involved? Like, zero.
This is the guy?
Yeah.
I just like that the pants down part is just insane to me. It's like, why is your dick out, dude?
I did it. Listen, I'm not saying this guy is insane. He's clearly insane. Yeah. Or not. Or he's professionally insane.
Right.
That's where it gets squirrely.
I almost texted you when the Charlie Kirk thing happened because my antennas went up about, they showed the photo of that kid, or the guy that they have, the 22-year-old, whatever. And I was almost going to be like, dude, do you think he's got the capability to do that?
Yeah, well, listen, there are people that look like that have the capability to do that.
Pretty accurate.
Nope.
No?
Not hard. Not hard at all. Let me dispel that. Okay. 200 yards from a prone position with a dead-on rifle. So if you have a dead-on rifle, so you set this rifle, you set your 0 to 200 yards, right? You know how far you're going to shoot. It is not hard at all.
He shot a lot?
You don't have to shoot a lot. So I could do it tomorrow.
If you're no, but you are experienced. If it's someone that's never shot, could they do it?
100%. Not
really?
If they've never shot, they wouldn't know where to look. They'd have a hard time acquiring the like when you look through a scope. Like when the reticle is weird, like sometimes
takes a minute.
You got to know the distance that you have to be from it to really line it up in your sights. But you could get a guy like my friend Andy Stumpf, who was a sniper in the SEALs. You could get him, and he could show you how to do it in an afternoon, and then you could hit steel at 200 yards every time you pull the trigger.
One day you could learn that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Not that hard.
Because it feels insane to me. I'm like, that seems tough.
It seems tough. We still haven't figured out whether or not the gun that shot Trump had a sight on it. Because we weren't sure if it had a sight on it or if this guy was using iron sights. That was 140 yards. If you shot it with iron sights, that's a lot harder. Because iron sights is you're lining up. So you have these two things in the back and there's one thing at the front of the barrel. And you got to line those bitches up perfectly. And that's how you stay accurate. That is a lot harder to do.
It's like old shotguns have those, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Pistols.
Yeah,
But you can buy a Glock.
Yeah.
That's what it comes with.
Right.
But this kid had a rifle with a scope. Now, here's where it gets weird. The first images of this rifle with a scope, I swear to God, it looks like he has a composite stock on it. Like it looks like a modern .30-06 rifle. So a 30-06, so that's the rifle. 30-06 is like, that looks like a very modern looking stock. I mean, it might not be. It might be just a bad resolution. It might be wood. It's hard to tell. But if you showed me that and you said, hey, this is my cousin's rifle, is this any good? I'd be like, looks like a standard bolt action rifle, look like a sophisticated modern scope on it. Sure. Now, apparently, the narrative is that this is his grandfather's rifle from World War I and doesn't have a serial code. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Why? Wait. Why are you using such an old gun? Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, is it possible that an old gun can be that accurate? If you have a gunsmith and they work on it, yeah, it's totally possible. You have a really good gunsmith and he sets. If you're like a nostalgic person, you like driving an old car, you could bring it to a mechanic. They could redo the brakes.
Sure.
So if you got a good gunsmith and he took a look at that and the action was true and the bore is good, yeah, you could conceivably shoot with a gun for hundreds of years, right? Guns don't necessarily go bad.
Right, they don't expire.
Right, and especially because all the stuff like the trigger and the action and all that different stuff is replaceable. So you could just it's compartmentalized. It's components. That's the other thing. They said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not going to fit.
Not going to fit in a backpack.
And then somehow or another reconnects it once he gets off the roof? What? What's that about?
Is that what they pitched, huh?
Yeah. And then he's supposed to get it in that stupid fucking backpack. It's literally, it makes no sense.
And the elevator music was a nice touch, by the way.
Yeah. So this is just a narrative, right? Yeah. We watch a guy jump off the roof, and then we supposedly find this rifle. So if you can have a guy that's in the audience that's yelling, "I shot him, now shoot me. I shot him, now shoot me," and then that guy gets arrested for child porn charges, he's like, what is going on here?
So
and then
weird.
You find this rifle, and then you say, "Oh, he assembled it and he reassembled it." Okay. If I wish I was a cop, I'd sit in a room like, this story is horseshit. None of these things make any sense to me. Like, you're telling me that this kid who's not military trained, this guy, first of all, how did he get to the roof? How come nobody was looking? How come nobody was there's a direct line of sight between where he's sitting and those roofs? You guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? That's insane. So he's on the roof, he shoots, he jumps from the roof. He jumps down 14 feet.
Yeah, we saw didn't they have video of him jump? Somebody had a cell phone video of him jumping.
There's
down,
a video
right?
of him jumping. So this guy, whoever it is, jumps off of the roof and lands, whether or not he's even the guy who shot him. Mm-hmm. Maybe he thought he was going to shoot him. Maybe he's a patsy. Maybe he did it.
I feel like he's a plant. Did you see the video? Did you see the person doing the investigating on his mom's Facebook?
No.
You haven't seen this? Have you seen that, Jamie? Some dude online.
His mom's got a weird Facebook. I spill coffee.
Very trippy. It doesn't make any sense. The more they keep looking into it, the more they're like, this doesn't feel like a real. It feels super fabricated.
But here's the thing. Just like I was talking about when people are arguing on social media, it's all part of the plan. If you want things to be...
I wanted it so bad. Buckets.
If you want people to lose all faith that anyone is going to solve anything, you add a bunch of... If you're going to kill a guy, you add a bunch of other wacky shit that doesn't make any sense and you spam it out there at the same time. You leave a gun that didn't do it out in the woods. You do a bunch of shit like that.
Conspiracy theories about the death of Charlie Kirk have been exploding online.
Israel will kill him.
The martyr, Charlie Kirk.
There have been more than 2 million distinct posts in the last week on X or Twitter referencing these conspiracy theories. That's according to the data analytics firm Peak Metrics, which said that it's actually twice as many posts as there were after the assassination attempt against Donald Trump last summer. Think about that. Some left-wing figures have been pushing the unhinged theory that Donald Trump himself orchestrated the killing to distract from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Other liberal activists have tried to connect the suspect to far-right white supremacist groups that have been clashing with Charlie Kirk, even though there is mounting evidence that the suspect was upset with Charlie Kirk's conservative ideology. And then on the right, some of Trump's allies like Steve Bannon and Laura Loomer have been pushing the idea that the suspect was part of a terror cell, even though the authorities have said that the suspect acted alone.
It seems like we're being spoon-fed a narrative.
Others on the right have been leaning hard into anti-Semitic tropes and are blaming Israel.
I heard that Charlie Kirk was afraid Israel was going to kill him.
Threats were made.
These theories are insane, but the disinformation expert I spoke to said they don't really need to make any sense because on the internet, the incentives are totally backwards. The podcasters, influencers, and grifters that have been promoting these conspiracy theories need to churn out take after take. The more inflammatory, the better, so that they can gain more followers, build subscribers, and keep the money flowing.
Guys have pulled apart this footage a million ways, and thank you for that. And here's the closer version of that. You can see, slowed down here, he pulls out the chair, he stands on it, and yes, that would be a big no-no for a crime scene. You don't move anything. He takes down the camera that is directly above where Charlie was sitting and would be able to provide, therefore, a lot of insight. And then you can see he kind of sits the camera onto the desk, and it looks like he removes the SIM card from it, or the SD card, if you will, which we're watching right here. So I'm going when I saw this footage, who is that? Like, actually, I should be able to figure this out because I've got a pretty big network at Turning Point USA. The person's wearing shades. I'm not recognizing the individual. And I reach out to somebody on the inside and I'm just like, who's this person? And they tell me the person's name and I go, oh, wait a second. And I look again. I'm like, I know this person. It's been a few years, but I know this person. This person's been around Turning Point for quite some time, for years. Like I said, back when I was working at Turning Point, early days. So I'm like, I'm just going to reach out. Obviously, I know this individual. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to say, hey, what's up with this? Where is this footage? Why did you do this? What were you doing up there on the rocks? What's up? Like, this is not the first thing that I would do if I had just witnessed Charlie Kirk being shot. And I'll say this right now. He was extremely forthcoming. Like, as soon as I reached out, I just sent a text because I still had his number. And he was extremely forthcoming, immediately got onto the phone. And first and foremost, I should say, obviously, he's seeing all of these clips going viral and he is fearful for his family. He doesn't have any security and people are looking, you know. And he said, look, as you can see in the footage, I was sitting right to the left or to the left of Charlie when Charlie got shot, and I instantly knew that he was not going to be okay. I instantly knew that he was dead. And I then, like, as you can see, people that are running, anybody that was in that zone, ran to the back, and he caught his breath. He wanted to check in with and communicate to other people that were working with and around Turning Point USA. That's why he's on his phone, communicating to them what had happened. That's what he told me. Then I asked, okay, well, what about this camera thing? Why would you grab the cameras? And he says, because the first thing that I thought is that I better secure the footage and be helpful and hand that footage over to the feds. Well, obviously, that's where things get into a pickle with me because we don't trust the feds, right? I'm like, no, we don't trust the feds. So we don't got to do that. Just let me have the footage. I'm like, just send me the footage. Please let me look at it. There's a lot of conspiracies that are floating around right now. People don't know what to believe. People are doing what I would say, credible videos. People that certainly have the credibility are ballistics experts that are saying that what we see in the front is an exit wound, not an entry wound. I don't know one way or the other because I'm not an expert. I'm getting inundated with messages from people that hunt, people that are in the military saying that this had to have come from another direction. This footage could help. As if nothing else, let me help you. Let me formally debunk that by seeing this footage. Like, could you send this footage over to me? Well, he didn't want to send the footage over to me without checking with Turning Point lawyers. I said, look, technically you own the footage. Like, you know, you and some other people own the footage. Like, let me just see the footage, because why go through lawyers? Like, I just want to see the footage. And also I asked the question, why not just release it? We've already seen the worst thing that you could possibly see from the front, right? Like, the front is what is the traumatizing video. And I understand that he wants to afford his wife some protection. Like, this has, you know, to experience that, Erica, so many people watching the love of your life in the last second of their life. It's traumatizing. I'm traumatized by it, right? That's not my husband and the father of my children. And so out of a loyalty to Erica, he also doesn't want to give more footage to the internet. But I said, look, I'm not going to publish it. I just want to see it. And I think you should let me see that, because people trust me. They know that I'm very serious about this. I don't care about anything right now other than figuring out who killed Charlie Kirk. So in the short run, he agrees that rather than send the footage, he will get onto a FaceTime call with me and he will show me the footage on his computer. He did that, and I watched the footage, and I'm going to tell you what I saw. And to the people specifically, the people that are in the military, people that know weapons, I'm telling you this because you might be able to add more color or more clarity here. What you would expect to see. If given the weapon that they have said did this, the bullet they have said did this, I don't know anything about any of this. So I'm just telling you what I saw. Okay. First and foremost, there is nothing gory about this shot at all. And so again, I am still going to work with him to get me the footage so that, I think it should be shared. There's nothing gory about this footage from the back. The thing that really stood out to me, and I just kept asking him to replay it over and over and over again, is that there's no blood. There's no blood from the back. There is no blood. So I think a lot of people were wondering whether or not that bullet pierced and went out the back. I think I vaguely even remember, and Skylar, you can maybe live look this up, but like, I thought the feds were saying they were looking for a bullet at some point, which is now very alarming to me. I don't understand that. How could they have been looking for a bullet? Because if I'm not seeing, and there isn't, I'm telling you, what happens in the front is not what happens in the back at all. If I'm not seeing any blood, what are we to take from that? The only thing that could make sense, if what they're saying is true and that person took the shot from the place that they are saying that individual took the shot from, it would suggest that it was inside of Charlie, right? And they would know that. The feds would have known that. So they would have communicated that they were never looking for a bullet. Because remember, one shot. So I'm very confused. I'm very confused, not by what I saw, but what I didn't see. Okay? That's pretty much all I can tell you right now.
When I watched that horrific video, he was obviously dead before he hit the ground. But the questions immediately started to come to me. That was not an entry wound that we saw. We saw an exit wound. So where'd that bullet come from? You don't bleed like, and I've shot guys closer than the camera was. And an entry wound doesn't look like that. An exit wound does. Why did his shirt move the way it did? When I've shot people, their shirts didn't move like that. And then the initial reaction was, well, he was obviously wearing body armor and it was deflection. One, no. He wasn't wearing body armor. And two, it doesn't deflect like that off of body armor. Why was his shirt moving from right to left? Why were people being interviewed saying, yeah, they came from my left to right, from his right to left, immediately shut down? And then did they tear the crime scene down immediately? Just right off the bat, from seeing it, knowing he was dead, saying a lot of this is bad, not even getting into the soliloquy of text messages that 22-year-olds don't send their trans lover.
If you were doing that with all your training, you were one of the most elite guys in special forces in American history. If you were dismantling this precise rifle, how long would it take you to do it?
A 30-06, well, it's going to take several minutes. I can't even remember I grew up, my first rifle was a 30-06 in Montana, and I can't remember the last time I took it apart. I could take the bolt out, clean that off, but in order to break it down to the point where you can even walk with a limp, it's going to take a solid 5 minutes, I would guess, with different I don't even think you use that type of a screwdriver that he had with his DNA conveniently all over it, because you know everything you touch has your DNA on it. It's just taking it apart, putting it together, taking a shot, cold bore, by the way, where your scope wasn't on there, taking it back apart, putting it in your pants, climbing down a fence, getting back into the woods, putting it together as you're on the run, wrapping it in a towel, then driving 200 miles away to type to my love the 300 lines of text. It's just none of it makes sense to me.
Scott Morgan, you're a forensics scholar. What do you think of what you just heard there from Rob O'Neill?
Yeah, I think it's a fine assessment. One of the problems is that at this point in time, from a medical legal perspective, we don't have any data to go on. All we have are the speculative things that are floating about the internet. That are, by the way, not doing anybody any good here. We have a surgeon who was hands-on there that treated Charlie, and he even made reference, I believe, he said that Charlie was a Superman man of steel. In other words, what he's saying is the round passed through and it didn't strike anybody else, that the round, he's implying at least, did in fact embed itself in his body. Now, what the status of that round is, I don't know. We don't have an autopsy report yet either, which is a huge problem. If you want to speculate on wound tracks and these sorts of things, and there are people out there that are actually saying that there was not an autopsy performed, even though it is required by Utah state law. The state medical examiner is put into that position where they have to do the autopsy. So if this is some kind of grand conspiracy, you would have to get a surgeon on board that had no idea this was coming, and you would have to get the chief medical examiner for the state of Utah to agree to this.
You just have to be careful. Every investigation has to be built on facts, right? On evidence, on information. And our tendency, because we want an immediate answer, because we've all been trained for that, and everybody's got ADHD, is they don't have the patience. And as was just pointed out, I agree with everything that was just said. You got to give these investigations time to sort themselves out. But that's not what people want. They want an immediate answer. And if you don't fill that void, they're just going to make crap up. Look, this guy obviously looked at Butler as an example. Rob said it himself. At what point do we look around? You could have scouted that perimeter and without really any formal training and said, I think I see a few problems here. And that's, I would look at this from more of an operational perspective, is how do you prevent the next one? How could you have prevented this? Well, look, it's hindsight, and that's a terrible thing to go on. But at the same time, they should have locked this down a long time ago. Charlie was getting death threats. He talked about them. He shouldn't have been doing events out in the open. You'd put them inside where you could, lock down the perimeter. You could screen people. You put up metal detectors. You just provide a more secure environment.
This Charlie Kirk theory is the wildest one yet. I've been pretty somber and silent for this whole thing, just focused on my family and promoting my film. But I see everyone on the internet questioning what really happened.
I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird shit going on with this. So,
from a filmmaker's perspective, this theory about the movie Snake Eyes and its connections to the Charlie Kirk event is so wild and shocking, I had to fact check it for myself. Check this. There's a movie called Snake Eyes from 1998 starring Nicolas Cage, and it's about a politician who gets shot in the neck in front of a huge crowd at a boxing match. And his name is Charles Kirkland.
Mr. Charles Kirkland! Secretary Kirkland was shot in the neck.
And the fighter on the title card, his name is Tyler the Executioner. You can see it on the marquee in the opening scene, along with the date of the fight and the assassination, September 10th. Some say it's September 19th due to the pixelation, but even still in numerology, that's the number 10. There's also a woman in a white suit with a blonde wig who's close to Kirkland at the assassination. And it gets even crazier. The movie was filmed at Trump's Taj Mahal Tower. Charlie Kirk's dad is known for architecting the Trump Tower. Obviously, the marketing has suspicious hand gestures, but take a look at the tagline, "Believe everything but your eyes." Everything is filmed at this event, hundreds of angles, reviewed by authorities, and still nobody knows what's real. Tyler, the executioner, ends up being a decoy whose confession unravels the whole case, while the alleged sniper is a Palestinian terrorist angry over the Pentagon sending weapons to Israel. And get this, After the fight in the movie, the arena is set to be renovated,
before it is gutted and completely renovated.
just like the arena in Utah was renovated days later.
The university is already making some changes.
And all of this is happening during Hurricane Jezebel in the movie, the biblical deceiver,
Hurricane Jezebel!
but also the publication that went viral for hiring witches to curse Charlie Kirk in the weeks leading up to the event. Look, I don't want to downplay how traumatic this has all been. It's messy and it's hard to know what's true or what we can even really do about it. But I do know one conspiracy that's actually as real as it gets. A 2,000-year-old cover-up revealed in our banned and censored film, Conspiracy, the one that shows the root of all the world's violence and corruption and shows that there's something we can do about it. And we'll send you the link to watch for free.
See, I wasn't really too skeptical about the whole Charlie Kirk situation until I seen this. And I don't know, it's just something about their whole interaction that gives me that Jackie Kennedy the Wink type vibe. But then again, she was Miss Arizona for Trump's beauty pageant back in 2012, so it would make sense, right? And it gets even more weird when you find out that Charlie and Erica met through Donald Trump. And it made me even more skeptical when I found out that Erica Kirk had connections to Israel way before she even met Charlie Kirk. That's because her dad is Kent Francevay. See, now he was one of the original creators for Breakdown Israel, and they controlled all the weapons and defense systems like the Iron Dome and the Skyhunter missile. He was also the former president of that division, meaning he was heavily involved. It all kind of reminds me of Barack Obama's adoptive dad, Lolo Sotoro, who ran death squads for the Indonesian army and could have anybody assassinated on his command. But maybe it's just a coincidence. Let's also not forget that after the October 7th attacks happened, Charlie Kirk claimed that the Israeli government had foreknowledge of the Hamas assault and that Netanyahu allowed it to happen to maintain power. And now using the death of Charlie Kirk to try to revoke our freedom of speech. I don't know, but it's just something really weird going on here. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below.
Shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great. How many mass shooters there have been in America?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Oh my God. Go, run. My relationship with the Lord and my love of His Word is everything. And so if you are, I say this all the time, people get so angry. You cannot be a Christian and a Democrat, period. If you are a Christian and a Democrat, you are not a Christian. Stop being a coward. If you are a minister that is more interested in Instagram likes or like how your skinny jeans look on Sunday, like you shouldn't be a minister, okay? Or you shouldn't be a pastor. Go do something else. The ministry is for people that understand the spiritual warfare that we're in, that understand that, by the way, the scriptures speak to this extensively. You are a higher calling if you're in the ministry than if you are just a rank and file Christian, right? It's not the same. But pastors will say, you know, I don't want to be political. I just want to preach the gospel. Okay, then get a pair of scissors and go into the Word of God and take out Esther, Mordecai, Nehemiah, Jeremiah, Daniel, Joseph, because you've got a lot of editing to do about people that we consider heroes in the Bible that were awfully political while you want to be comfortable. And I know there's only one way to save this country: to awake the beast that is the American church. And I am very low on patience lately. And I'll tell you why. Every so often I get emails from people, well, Charlie, my pastor, doesn't want to speak out. Leave the church. Stop going to churches that are run by cowards, period. Stop giving them money. Stop going to those churches. We are a fatigued nation. And my message to everyone is, okay, get an extra week of rest, then stop complaining and get to work. Because America was once and still somewhat remains a godly nation and has faith-filled, God-fearing people that are constituted of this country. Our structure of government is a threat to the World Economic Forum and to all what they're trying to do. And so they know that the two quickest ways that you destroy a country is that you ruin the currency and the purchasing power, inflation, and you open up the borders and you have a bunch of foreigners come in that don't share your values, don't share your language or your customs, and you become a nation of strangers, not one of neighbors.
We're very excited that Turning Point Faith is joining the Remnant Alliance.
Yes, you love what you guys are doing. Very good, very good.
What specifically about this project spoke to you?
Well, look, at TPUSA Faith, our mission is to try to excommunicate wokeism from the American church. That's our number one mission, right? Wokeism has no place in American Christianity. If you say Jesus is queer or transgender, all that, resign from the ministry. You're not a Christian. You're not a pastor. And the Remnant Alliance is about kind of rebuilding that black robe regimen. And look, I want to work into retirement in the faith space because I want the church to rise up and stand up and be like, all right, you guys got your act together. I'm going to go back to the colleges, right? So I love Steve, love Citizens Defending Freedom. We need the church to be bold and strong and stand up. My concern is that millions of people will not give everything that they can, and then they'll be upset if the outcome doesn't go their own way. Well, you have only one person to be upset with, and that's yourselves. Exactly. Give everything you can and leave the rest up to the Lord. Genesis 1 through 6 is so beautiful that I encourage all of you to spend some time with it. And do not skim over it. You're like, yeah, I know the creation story. And so just in Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. You have three things that are absolutely true that the world tells you is not true. There is a God, and you are not him. It's a pretty amazing thing, isn't it? There is creation, and you didn't create it. And there was a beginning, and God made that beginning possible. Three things. And he did it in ex nihilo, which means out of nothing, God breathed existence. Now, it continues through Genesis 1. It says, God said, God spoke, and there would be existence. Now, there are two creation stories in the Bible, and they both say the exact same thing. The other is in John 1, where it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. Now, how you say, Charlie, how is that the same thing? Now, the word word is not actually a perfect English translation of the Greek. John 1 is in the beginning there was the Logos, which means rational speech. What does it say here? God spoke into existence. Both John 1 and Genesis 1 are saying the same thing. They're saying that God spoke it and then it was. And I love this. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This right here should give us all comfort that there are things that we cannot do. There are things that are above our ability to understand and comprehend. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a God and we are not him. And therefore that God is worthy of our praise. That God is worthy of our worship. That is God worthy of our wonder. Wonder is one of my favorite English words. And wonder is the beginning of the pursuit of truth. This is why the world is so, I think, in a form of chaos right now, is that people don't stop and enjoy the wonder around them. And people, you might say, well, Charlie, what could possibly be wondrous around you? Well, in California, there's like no excuse because you have such a beautiful natural landscape. But outside of just natural beauty, how about the wonder of creation of new life? The wonder of the inexplicable miracle of how DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, is formed. The wonder of the laws of physics. That as soon as you admit, like, wow, my human comprehension, my human-sized brain cannot wrap my head around this, there's something greater than this. And that greater is God.
Well, I've been sitting here staring at my computer for the last hour, having no idea how to even start this video. I have an exclusive video to share with you guys today that no one has seen except for, I believe, one other person in the world, including law enforcement, including anyone else. And this is going to be the single clearest, best angle, and clearest video, period, of Charlie Kirk being assassinated. And it's from an angle that no one has seen. So you can see there, that is a millisecond before he is about to be shot. And that video is very clear. Now, I want to warn everybody, this is really important, okay? This video, the thing that's very unique about it is that you see Charlie post being shot in a way that you don't in any of the other ones. And what I mean by that is that if this video would have been the one that went around on the internet, there wouldn't have been a millisecond of speculation of whether or not Charlie was going to survive. He was dead before he fell out of the chair. This is the only video that I've seen where that is so clear. And I mean that as a warning. If you think that that's going to bother you, I promise it will, watching this. Now, the reason we're going to be looking at this, though, is obviously to examine what we've been told, what we've seen in other videos, and then compare it to now the most clear video that there is as it relates to what direction that the shot came from and other theories that have gone, has become part of like the online and official investigation. I'm going to show you the video right now, and then we're going to go through it in very, very, very significant detail. We're going to slow it down to half speed. We're going to slow it down to 25% speed. We're going to slow it down to 10% speed so that you can see every millisecond possible. Now, this angle is a godsend in terms of our ability to show it on YouTube because there's no blood at all. But again, you've been warned. So this is the one time I'm going to show it all like full speed, and then we're going to start looking at everything and then slowing it down. Great. obviously that is a really tough watch, and I have been watching it all afternoon, and it doesn't get any easier. But we are going to watch it again over and over and over later in the video as we slow it down to nearly snail pace so that we can see any evidence of the direction of the shot. But first, we're going to set the stage in terms of the official story, where they're at, and then the counter narratives where maybe he was shot from behind. And I'll show you that evidence really quick again so that we can look at the new one with a full deck of cards in terms of what we're trying to figure out. This is the layout of the environment where the shot supposedly came from. Okay, so this is the Losi Center. Okay, you have another angle of it right here. So this is where Charlie Kirk was down on the, okay, and then this is where they said that he took the shot from, right? You can see that, I assume, right there. And then he supposedly went and jumped off the roof and then ran across the street. That's the official story, okay? So in the video that we reviewed yesterday, whereby it looks as though he has a shot coming.
Do you really think a human being shot Charlie Kirk? Let me explain.
Okay.
There's a muzzle flash behind him. Okay? And that wound is an exit wound, not an entry wound. He got shot from behind.
Okay.
He got shot by a drone, not a human being. You're gonna leave this whole thing, even if you got cohorts to do it, and whoever's behind, you know, the killer, 22-year-old kid, to leave it all to you, who's not a killer, never killed anybody before, to take him out? No. Lone gunman? Absolutely not. So why wouldn't you use a drone, right? So there's a muzzle flash behind him in a vent where no human being can be placed there. So wouldn't you just put a patsy up there when the shot goes off? There he is.
Right.
Meanwhile, you got hit from the back. Nobody's even looking for a drone. No, you're not even thinking about that. And the Chinese have mosquito-sized drones for reconnaissance. We're seeing all types of, like Lockheed Martin, they have drones now to where you can't even detect them. So all these things are coming out. If you look into what type of drones are used for military, assassinations or operations, you don't think they have this type of technology they can just use on him? One perfect shot? You only need one shot. You're telling me a kid with a lazy eye changes clothes, goes to the roof, takes the shot, perfect shot, changes his clothes again, disassembles the rifle, and then throws it in a bush?
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, well, mind you, puts the rifle back together again, then throws it in the bush. And do all that in record time.
I believe it's Tuesday night for Charlie Kirk, a friend of mine, a friend of all of ours, a friend of a lot of the people right here. And we're giving him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest honor you get outside of the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Something's not right here. You feel it, I feel it. Taking a step back and not emotionally responding and thinking logically, and this is not to discredit what happened by any means, it's still horrible, but going through the timeline, the details of what happened, I can't say that I'm buying the story that's being sold to us currently. And I hate to say that because I want to have faith in Kash Patel and the FBI because he's a true patriot, but just hearing the things that Candace has said, seeing conspiracy theory videos has kind of opened my mind a little bit. For instance, that random old guy, when it initially happened, was claiming he did it or whatever, was looking super guilty. People have found that he had something to do with the Boston bombing, like he reported it. He was whatever it was. And then he also reported 9/11. Like, what is that about? What are the odds of him being at 3 different horrible tragedies? A. And B, I can't help but think the blurred images of him on the stairs, they only showed us video of him leaving the rooftop, didn't show us getting on the rooftop, or him getting on the rooftop. Weird, shady characters in that crowd making weird hand signals. apparently he was supposed to have a meeting with Netanyahu that he declined. He had a recent interview with Ben Shapiro talking about Israel. I don't know what's going on. I'm not saying before TikTok bans me or whatever, I'm not saying that that's the reason, but it's just very strange to me. And it also makes me think to other events in history, maybe that we just believe the narrative that weren't true either, or mainstream media making people crazy because they were maybe telling the truth, like Kanye. I don't know. It's even a more sickening feeling than what actually happened, because now I'm like, what's real, what's not? It's a very scary world out there.
So let me get this straight. Charlie Kirk had no coroner's report, no church funeral, no burial site or grave, no official death certificate. Why has no official autopsy been conducted, nor any findings released? No ballistics report? Not a single eyewitness on the record, and an award-winning widow already taking over his show. Why was the entire crime scene destroyed within hours, erasing vital evidence? They tore down everything, including the Dairy Queen. Why were there no paramedics on the scene? Why was Charlie Kirk's body removed and illegally flown out on Air Force Two? Why did Donald Trump pardon a Navy SEAL killer whose shadow looms over this case? Why was the stadium mysteriously booked by Turning Point 4 months before his death? How was a massive high-tech stadium memorial produced in only 11 days? Why do multiple women publicly appear as Erica Kirk, raising questions of identity? Why are there no birth certificates for their children? No names revealed, no faces ever shown? Where is a video of Charlie playing with his kids at a birthday party, or picnic, or any other family setting? Why do Freemasonic and satanic symbols surround this tragedy with chilling precision? Interesting that the gun was found on property owned by Palantir. Isn't it interesting Kash Patel fired many of the heads of the FBI in that area days before the shooting? Do you find it interesting that Charlie sold his house 8 months ago for $5 million? If the father of your 2 young children was just brutally murdered for the world to see days ago, do you leave them home with the nanny while you go on podcasts grinning from ear to ear? Is it not curious that a 17-year-old first-time Donald Trump beauty pageant contestant won, and now Trump appointed a top attorney general woman who has no experience, who was also in his beauty pageant? This is only a fraction of the clues and evidence on this psyop. For those of you brave enough to look at the evidence while removing the preconceived emotions, the conclusion is undeniable.
All right, quiet on the set.
Roll sound.
Green can. Why Kirk can eat. Fade up music.
Bravo!
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
All of you have noticed online that a lot of people are talking about, why are these people allowed to be in this canopy? Why isn't this marked off and taped off as a crime scene? And why is this guy in the white shirt taking the most very important camera down? What you think is the most very important camera there, why is he taking it down? Well, here's why. Because it's not a crime scene. A crime didn't take place here, and that's not a camera. Now, before I tell you what it is, I want you to get a real good look at it as he's taking it down. Anybody figure out what it is yet? Okay, here's what it is. It's called a hologram projector. And if you don't believe me, you can go look them up online. And they're not cheap. They're not cheap. Usually 20 to 60, 70, $80,000 for these things, and they come in different varieties. Now, Hollywood calls them hologram stage projectors. Now, you see how Charlie's little tent there is a perfect square? And as you can tell, it's 10 foot squared, 10 foot all the way around on each square, and it's about 9 foot tall. That's because it has to be for the projection to work. Now, let's explain.
For smaller spaces, the projectors can be configured with mirrors to elongate the projection path and maintain picture integrity. Eyeliner displays ideally require a minimum footprint of 10 feet square and a height of 9 feet to show full-size human figures. What you are seeing is a reflected image which is so true and realistic to the original, it has become known as a virtual image. Many people perceive what they are seeing now as a 3D hologram. In fact, it is a 21st century take on a mid-19th century visual effect known as Pepper's Ghost, showing now on the relay screens. Thanks in part to the amazing optical properties of the eyeliner foil, combined with the light and picture output of Christie Digital high-definition projectors, the image has depth and opacity that actually supersedes the scale and definition of traditional 3D hologram.
Like I said before, 10 foot squared, 9 foot tall. This canopy was made this size for a purpose because it is a hologram stage projection that you guys were watching.
These performers are holograms.
Every series, we take one step closer to achieving all of the sci-fi dreams.
It's pretty cool. You'll never have to miss a gig again. The gig can come to you.
We traveled to Paris to meet Ian O'Connell, director of the company that put this show on.
I recall we were being asked to produce a show from London to Florida where the interaction between the musicians and the audience would be as natural as two people being in the same room. And for all of us, it was an experience that we'll never forget.
So how do they beam this band in live?
It's incredible that this really is a remote live gig. The signal from London takes less than 1/3 of a second to go all the way around the world and be projected as a hologram on the stage in the US. As well as the hologram making it feel like the band are actually in the room with the audience, the band can see the audience and actually interact and respond to what they're doing.
There's a huge conspiracy. It's the Charlie Kirk thing.
Okay.
That people think they set up Charlie Kirk's microphone to actually cause a blast. That was the reason he died. Not coming from a bullet. So remember Candace Owens did a video?
Yeah.
And then she was saying she never saw an exit wound.
Yeah.
From the shot he was shot in. But before continuing, I wanted to warn you guys. Phones were being spied on by a blue radio app. Click on this icon, then on more. If you see it, delete it immediately. There was another video and another person that put it through like a vector analysis to see the trajectory of the bullet and see how it would travel, and the way his body moved and the way the wind or the air pressure moved his shirt was wrong. Like, it shouldn't have moved like that if he got shot by a bullet. Now, what's really, really scary, in the background, somebody close to him in the front was actually holding a device. What people are now saying is that it was a detonator, that there was something in the mic that was right here, that it shot something this way and it blasted that way.
The surgeon who operated on Charlie Kirk's neck reveals something terrifying. On September 10th, during a speech at Utah Valley University, the leader of the conservative organization Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, was fatally shot by an assassin using a .30-06 hunting rifle, the same type of weapon used to hunt moose. Now, days after the tragedy, the surgeon has revealed something strange and terrifying. In his statement, he said the bullet didn't pass through the body, it got stuck in Charlie's neck.
His bone was like steel. The bullet should have gone through and killed dozens
dozens more behind him, but it didn't. That's a miracle.
Behind Charlie stood students, professors, and guests. He became a living shield, literally. The coroner found the bullet just under the skin, proof that his body, even in death, saved lives. According to reports, Charlie didn't just talk about sacrifice for the nation in the end, he made it. His death shook America, but left a message that still echoes today. Do you believe this was just a coincidence or something more? Was it fate, divine intervention, or pure chance? The debate still goes on and continues to raise questions. Follow for more unbelievable true stories.
Shooting of Charlie Kirk, it is now 4:21 Eastern on September 10th. There are varying reports as to if Charlie Kirk is still alive. Utah Speaker Mike Schultz told one of the reporters on the scene that Charlie Kirk is dead. Turning Point USA sent out an email to all their members saying Charlie Kirk is alive and stabilized and to pray for him. A police officer told the Associated Press that he survived the evacuation flight to the hospital and is getting massive amounts of blood. President Donald Trump is using the past tense when talking about Charlie Kirk, so is Fox News. Kirk's Wikipedia page has been updated. He's died, he's not died, he's died, he's not died. Right after the shooting, police apprehended a suspect that they claimed was the shooter. They are now saying that is not the shooter, and that the shooter is still at large. Some reports say the shooter was in the crowd. Others say that he was posted up in a building about 200 feet away. Pretty much every single politician on the left has said that the shooting is an atrocity and political violence and gun violence have no place in our country. Pretty much every single politician on the right has said, please pray for Charlie Kirk. In the wake of an event like this, getting specific and factual details is incredibly difficult. It takes time. So what you're hearing is going to be bits and pieces of maybes and could be's, but we won't actually know what happened until probably sometime tomorrow or even later. We'll let you know when we have more. In the meanwhile, take care of your...
It is your DNA.
No, it's not.
It's a part of you. It's growing in you. It's connected to you by an umbilical cord. It is a part of you.
1 second. It's attached.
A part.
It's attached. Hold on a second. It's attached, not a part.
Same thing.
No, it's actually not. A part, by definition, means it remains permanent.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Oh, okay.
So an attachment is something that is temporary. And so it's not, you are not your mom's DNA. You're not your dad's DNA. You are new deoxyribonucleic acid. So shouldn't we say that if it's not your DNA, it's not your choice?
I mean, you could say that, but I mean, really, I just don't understand how you can use religion to back up your point of...
I haven't used it once. She brought up religion. I'm happy to use a non-religious line of questioning. We all agree murder is wrong.
Okay.
We all agree that it's a human Homo sapien.
Do you agree that the death penalty is wrong?
Well, no, I'm actually in support of the death penalty because people do something that justifies that. But that's a separate issue because the baby in utero did not go...
So what about the people who could possibly be proved innocent who have been awaiting their death sentence?
Fair enough. That's a good argument, but it's separate, right? So there's been about 31 exonerations of post-humulus people that have been exonerated of the death penalty. We're talking about a baby that did nothing wrong except exist.
Okay.
In utero. And there's about 1.5 million of them that just get discarded every year. So we agree murder is wrong. We agree it's a Homo sapien, meaning it's a human being. Therefore, murder is the forcible termination of a Homo sapien. Therefore, shouldn't abortion be wrong and illegal?
That's a lot of people, Utah, I'll tell you what.
Wow, look at that. Beautiful. Look at that.
Candace Owens' investigation on Charlie Kirk's assassination is getting real, okay? And I haven't been keeping up with this too much, but this right here definitely caught my attention. So first off, Candace Owens releases text messages confirming that there were some real problems between Charlie Kirk and Jewish donors that was forcing him to step back from the pro-Israel cause, okay? And not only that, she also reveals that, according to 3 trusted sources, Charlie Kirk expressed how he felt like he was going to die 24 hours prior to his death. And if that wasn't enough, Candace Owens actually says that she has spread out all of the information that she has to trusted sources just in case something happens to her. Okay, this is getting real. I did not expect this to go to a level that it's at, but I will say that Candace Owens is definitely doing due diligence in her investigation. I want to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and hop into this video, watch it, and react to it. Before we do me a quick favor. Hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm so that this video can reach more people like yourself. Truly appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and hop in.
Knew, and others knew, that Charlie was done with Israel bullying him, and I am now going to present you proof of what I am saying. This is an actual group chat, which happened 2 days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. There were 9 people in total on this chat, including Charlie and Rob McCoy. I'm going to protect the names of the other 7 for now. To be clear, I might actually release a name every day this week, but I want to show you this because suffice it to say, Rob McCoy was on this text thread, and I think it helps contextualize him as a person, in my view, that he would attack me for telling the truth about the pressure that he was facing. Take a look. So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, oh. Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Then somebody writes, a donor writes, please do not invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term, in my opinion. Like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times after the dust settles a bit, maybe. So again, this is 48 hours before Charlie was assassinated. He was very clear and he was very explicit, and he did not back down, not in that Hamptons meeting, which they're all lying about, nor in this text thread. I'm not going to reveal the names of the other 7. Actually, you know what? I disagree with myself 4 seconds ago. Let's just throw in Josh Hammer for funsies. He's on this chat, okay?
It says, Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. So Charlie Kirk is saying that he felt like he was getting bullied, politically bullied by Jewish donors, forcing him to play the cards that they want him to play, or else they're going to take money back. And so this is like political pressure. You know what I mean? So apparently people were saying that these text messages didn't exist, and she's showing proof that they existed. Now, Turning Point USA executives confirmed that these text messages were real.
You want to have as much sex as possible, but then I say if I get pregnant, I can kill the baby. That's really dark.
It's not killing the baby.
Well, killing what?
A clump of cells.
You're a clump of cells. I'm a clump of cells. We're all clumps of cells. How are you? What a beautiful kid that is.
Thank you.
What a gift from God.
Yeah. She truly is. She is the biggest blessing. Something that kind of has me like on the fence of whether or not I go kind of like full blown more like conservative or moderate is just seeing how like welfare has like really like destroyed like the family unit. I see that, you know, we're starting to save a lot of money. Do you think that some of that money should go back to maybe like reforming the way that welfare is done to help poor families who do want to kind of pursue that American dream?
Great question. The number one objective of any social welfare program should be how do we keep the family together and put dads back in the family. Yes. That is the number one priority. Every number gets better for every community if dads are around. Every number gets worse when dads are not around. Unfortunately, in the black community, dads are the most absent of any community. About 2/3 of all black youth will be raised without a stable father around. And I know it's crazy, right? To have a father figure is a silent way of forming a child to be a mature citizen. And unfortunately, as we've removed dads from families, government has come in and has taken the place. Unfortunately, with welfare, you can get more money for single mother assistance.
This is very true.
And so right, you agree. We're actually subsidizing single motherhood more than we are subsidizing family formation. Take responsibility, provide for your family, and with strong families comes smaller government and a better country.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like rather than my skills.
I want to be judged by my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended by my coworkers and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR.
Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery, Long time no see.
No can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long. When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist. I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
That is exactly how we beat the woke, by mocking them. And just for the record, for the first 15 seconds, I couldn't tell if it was a parody or not. That's how you know it's good stuff.
So what do you think California, with like relatively like strict gun laws, like, how do you think we should go about it within the next like 10 years?
If you do massive gun confiscation, there is typically a moment where gun crime goes down.
Yeah.
And then there's a price to that.
Yeah.
And the price is that it usually comes back with illegal guns and you have a disarmed citizenry.
Well, of
so
course,
let me
let
me ask a question.
Yeah.
Is burglary, breaking into people's homes, up or down in like West Hollywood in the last couple of years?
It's up.
It's up.
Yeah.
Somebody who is a business owner wouldn't be able to defend themselves against someone who's breaking into their home.
It's just, if we have zero restrictions at the same time, it doesn't necessarily solve any sort of homicide rate. Just having more guns doesn't necessarily equal more safety, because people are still...
I generally believe that when criminals see that there are more guns, they are less likely to commit crime. And Houston is a great example. Houston and Chicago. Houston has significantly less homicides. The only difference, the populations are almost identical. The only difference is that Houston's in Texas and you can own a gun. I think the price of disarming a population is far more than the benefit.
I believe that we live in a patriarchy and it negatively affects women.
No.
No.
Yeah, so for example,
Yeah.
men are more likely to commit suicide,
Yeah.
more likely to die at work, more likely to declare bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Women are far less likely to be in credit card debt, far more likely to graduate from college,
Yeah.
far more likely to get a high-paying job.
What's a
People
man and woman to you? What's the difference between them?
Well, a man you're looking at a man, and I think I'm looking at a woman, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice,
right?
yeah. That was funny.
Yeah, thank you.